very excited for that. And I also wanted to let you know that I'm also the chair, co-chair with my fellow birthday sharing cohort, also from ASU, Hitendra. So we're very excited to have him as a co-chair for our supply chain and manufacturing logistics committee, which has really just created an incredible opportunity for us to have a voice in the region, especially since 80% of all industrial growth is in the West Valley. So if you think about that, that's an amazing opportunity for us, and we're glad to have ASU as a partner. And Jenny Thomas is on our board as well from ASU. This isn't a Sun Devil reunion. I didn't plan it. It's just there's a lot of Sun Devils out here. So that's just sort of the way it is. And then also our political action committee, public affairs committee is a co-host of this event. And the chair, Jenny will be speaking to that. So I will introduce her for that. But we're also excited because those are two committees that really, dovetail well together. And then we are very honored to be partnering with the Buckeye Valley Chamber on this event. So that was something that we were fortunate, and actually one of our presenting sponsors for this is America First Credit Union. And so I wanted to welcome Chris Boardman, and thank you for being a presenting sponsor for this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Awesome. Thank you. Also, I wanted to introduce who's in the room. Jeff Campos, who is the CEO and president of the Southwest Valley Chamber. And then also we have Deanna Kupczyk. Thank you for attending. And then I'm going to let Jenny Thomas introduce herself and talk a little bit about the committee. Well, you can talk about that later, but I want to introduce Jenny Thomas.
What about Chris Boardman?
Yeah, I think a little bit here. Well, here, and I'm really privileged to be on the new economic initiative board here. I'm glad you guys allowed me to have a couple minutes to talk. And I thought about what to talk about. There's so many moving things with the economy right now, and it affects consumers, businesses alike. So I wanted to just do a quick introduction. America First Credit Union, we've been around since 1938. We're headquarters out of Ogden, Utah. We're the 6th largest credit union in the nation as far as membership, 9th as far as assets. So the best thing I can say is that I've been talking for a year now on balanced portfolios with consumer accounts, lending, business accounts, and lending. That's really where I come in. I can help on the consumer side as far as debt fixing, anything for FICO scores or anything like that. We've got a full tier of lending services that banks can't even compete with. When it comes to mortgages, we can do lay-ins, bridge loans, anything like that. But what I really wanted to key into, and where I'm on the board of directors here at Southwest Valley, is on the businesses. I'm talking to businesses left and right now. We are a full service SBA lender. So we're doing 504 and 7A loans on a regular basis. I've got like $6 million in the pipeline now. So if you are a commercial real estate agent or broker, if you are a commercial mortgage broker, or if you are a CPA that deals with businesses, we need to have a one-to-one and talk, because I've got all sorts of solutions for your clients. Outside of that, I'm really happy to be here and really excited to get the presentation. So thank you guys for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. So now I will introduce Jenny Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for your sponsorship as well. The Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce Public Policy Committee and Manufacturing Logistics and Supply Chain Committees are pleased to host the New Economy Initiative presented by ASU Executive Vice President, Dr. Sally Morton. And the Public Policy Committee, of which I'm a member, they work with the board of directors on issues and initiatives important to our economy, businesses, and community. So now I get to introduce Dr. Morton. You may have seen this on a billboard or a bus or heard about this. Arizona State University has been named the most innovative university in the nation 7 years running. Probably have all heard this. An individual leading one of the key university areas creating this innovation is Dr. Sally Morton. She's a statistician and executive vice president of ASU's Knowledge Enterprise. And in that role, she advances the university's research priorities and drives corporate engagement, economic development, global initiatives, strategic partnerships, and technology transfer on behalf of the university. Dr. Morton's career has spanned academia and industry. She most recently served as the Dean of the Virginia Tech College of Science and interim director of the Franklin Life Sciences Institute. She's held leadership roles at the University of Pittsburgh as chair of the Biostatistics Department, at RTI International as vice president for statistics and epidemiology, and at the RAND Corporation as head of the statistics group. She joined ASU in February of 2021. Please welcome Dr. Sally Morton, who will speak to us about the New Economy Initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that very kind introduction, Jenny. I think we have a talk. Do you want to put the first slide? Sharon, thank you. Okay, well, we wait a moment for that. Great. Wonderful. There we go. Excellent. Can you put it so we can see some of the people as well? But let's just move forward. So I've had the honor and the privilege of going around and speaking to several groups like yourself. And I always want to start with the two most important words, which are thank you. The New Economy Initiative, which I'll speak about, which is a catalyst for prosperity in our state, would not have happened without your partnership and support. So I'm delighted to be here to give you a report on it, tell you about it, answer any questions you may have. As you heard, I came to Arizona about a year ago from Virginia, and I'm just delighted to be here. I lead Knowledge Enterprise, which is basically the research ecosystem at the university, and I've been asked to coordinate the New Economy Initiative across the university. So let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So Arizona's economy is growing. We see that here. But what is not happening is really the growth of a resilient, anti-fragile economy. During the pandemic, as you see on the slide, 45% of Arizona families lost income. What we want to do is move Arizona into the so-called new economy that can be resilient to downturns, economic downturns or pandemics or other things that happen to all of us. So move to the next slide, please. So what do we mean by the new economy? You've heard other words. It's sometimes called the gig economy, the data economy, the fourth industrial revolution. These are industries and jobs that are really driven by data. They're digital. They're constantly changing. They require education to be very much at the forefront of all of us as we're moving through our careers. They're things like autonomous vehicles. They're technology driven. That's what's usually meant by so-called the knowledge economy or the new economy. Next slide, please. So this is pretty interesting. It's not new in particular, all of us. I think the job that I'm in, statistician, well, it did actually exist when I was in primary school, but jobs are just constantly changing, and we're picking up speed with this in the new economy. You know, you pick up your phone and there's a new version, there's a new this, there's a new that. What is happening is other states are creating jobs that go with this new economy. So for example, there's actually artificial intelligence machines now that do irrigation of crops. And those machines are being developed elsewhere. And the jobs that go with them to create those machines, to operate them, we want to bring that here to Arizona. We want to develop that industry, those machines here, and sell them to other states. We don't want to be customers of other states. We want that industry here. We want to develop those new jobs here for our children. Next slide, please. So types of industries. Here's some examples. Advanced manufacturing. You've heard about the new fabrication facilities that are moving to the Valley, and I'll speak more about them later. Big data, cybersecurity, automation, robots, virtual reality. These industries rely on talent, research, and innovation. And that's where that partnership with the universities and industries and leaders like yourselves in the local communities, that's why that partnership is so important. Next slide, please. So what does the new economy do? The New Economy Initiative was a collaborative effort led by the governor, both sides of the legislature. There was not battling between the two sides. This was a combined effort because I think the state saw, with leadership like yourself speaking from industry, This is something we have to do and we have to do now. And it saddens me to say it's not just about Arizona State University. The other two state universities are also very much involved. The University of Arizona was given a specific assignment. Northern Arizona University was also given a specific assignment, and ASU was given a specific assignment. Those assignments correlated with the strengths of each university, and not surprisingly, ASU's space is in engineering and technology, and I'll speak about that in a moment. So it really was a collaborative effort. And there are the goals: accelerate talent and skills development, advance innovation, and strengthen Arizona. Next slide, please. This is the return on investment by 2032. So to give you some ideas of the numbers, the investment in ASU this past fiscal year, the fiscal year that we're in right now, fiscal 22, which will end on June 30th for the university, was about $50 million from the state. Here you can see the return on investment. These numbers were calculated by an independent economist in terms of the number of new jobs and so on. And Arizona State University is going to grow our engineering school. We're at about 27,000 students right now. Really surprising. It was about 6,000 10 years ago. We're going to grow to 40,000 students with number of graduates at about 10K per year. Why? Because we're capable of doing this, and producing this type of talented individuals will again help drive the economy locally. Next slide, please. So our assignment, again, Northern Arizona University and University of Arizona were given specific assignments. Our assignment is really in the engineering and the technology space. We are being asked to train future and current workers. So in the middle there, you see workforce development. It's not just about the regular college student, right? The 18 to 22-year-old or the graduate students. We are also on working with employers and saying, your employees don't know anything about blockchain, to bring that up. I'm not sure I know very much about blockchain, but in any event, or quantum computing. We're partnering with the industry to say, let us produce a short course to bring your employees up to snuff, because that new economy is moving so quickly. The science and technology centers, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, think of these as really the intellectual magnets of the New Economy Initiative. They're focused on particular engineering ideas. And then we want to support new economy startups to just bring companies here, start companies here, and keep companies here, because these will bring and keep those high-paying jobs here in Arizona. So next slide, please. All right, so the Science and Technology Centers, going by the acronym STCs. We've started with 5, and their areas of emphasis are shown there on the slide. The 2 on the bottom, energy and materials, and there's a little bit of verbiage there to tell you what they're about, and advanced manufacturing. We started those in this fiscal year. Why did we start with those 2? Because they really tie in with everything that's happening across the valley with TSMC and Intel and all the manufacturing that's happening. You will start to see the upper 3 roll out in the next 12 months. We sort of couldn't start all at once. It was, what should we focus on immediately? So these are the ones that we've started on in the first year. So the way to think about these is again, they're magnets where we bring industry in, we bring faculty and students together. Usually in academics, we do our little thing and then we throw it over a wall and hope someone will use it. We write a few papers, but this isn't what the new economy is about. We sit down with industry and we say, you're in advanced manufacturing. What problems are you facing? To use robotics in a certain setting, let's work together on those problems. And we've recently had something we called a Proposers Day. We brought over 200 representatives from industry across Arizona in the context of energy and materials and advanced manufacturing, and asked them what were their problems. We are jointly doing projects together, and students are also in this mix. I listened to a student a few weeks ago where she spoke about her experience, and she's going out on the market with this real world experience. What a wonderful thing for our students. So again, we call it market pull the problems in from the market and then push the results out. So it's pull and push the problems out. So next slide, please. So again, a little bit more detail, energy, materials, and devices. One way to think about this, I'm not an engineer, as you heard, I'm a statistician. You've got your phone, you wish it would hold charge longer, you want your electrical car to be able to go more miles. We're thinking about those materials that don't get hot, right, and could hold charge more. This is becoming more and more important. So that's what that SDC is about. Next slide, please. And this is the advanced manufacturing SDC. Again, a lot happening right now. I don't need to tell you because you already know about this. The fabrication facilities that are being built, there's a lot of startups working in this space. And with this brings a lot more. It's all about supply chain, logistics, getting things to the right place at the right time. Again, an emphasis on next generation materials processing, 3D printing, automation, industry partners to really leverage that expertise. Again, we want sort of a seamless communication between research, startup industry, and then established industries. What we don't want to have happen is TSMC and Intel come here and they have a fabrication facilities. And again, we're like the Detroit manufacturing the cars. We want to be developing the innovations in the cars. That's the way we can really capture those high-paying jobs. Next slide, please. So I've talked about the New Economy Initiative, but there's a lot happening in this space. So there's these, I call this the cog slide. So think of these cogs all working together. So there's the New Economy Initiative on the left, the Fulton Schools of Engineering at ASU, tremendous growth there because we see the students that want to come to ASU. We see the jobs developing here in the state. We are actually the largest supplier of engineers to Intel. ASU is worldwide. That's actually, I didn't know that before I came to ASU. The other cog there, national initiatives to strengthen the US manufacturing. Next slide, please. Let's see. So there's a lot going on. You've probably heard about this. The chip shortage. China controls most of the production of chips, about 85%, and the US is concerned for many reasons. Because if there's a supply chain problem that happens because of a pandemic or China decides not to ship chips to us, that is a national security problem, is an economic problem. So if you read the newspaper, there's something called the CHIPS Act. Have we heard about this in the news? It's actually being debated right now. The idea here is to bring that innovation, that research and development back home to the United States. And Phoenix and Arizona are poised to bring those federal dollars here. With those federal dollars, we're becoming the research and development goes hand in hand with NEI, goes New Economy Initiative, sorry, I'm using acronyms, goes hand in hand with the companies here. So this is, again, part of the reason that we invested in these two science and technology centers to start with, because of everything that's happening on the federal level. Next slide, please. Has anybody heard of the Valley of Death? This is between research and development, and again, just throwing things over the wall and hoping that innovation will take root. You can't do that. You have to have that connector between the research at the university and what's happening in the corporate world. And that's what those STCs are meant to be. They're the communicator between the two pieces. So that's a terminology, the Valley of Death. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's about innovation and how we lose things. Arizona is ready to take advantage of this. We've got these fabrication facilities. We've got the energy and the commitment of people like yourselves resulting in the New Economy Initiative. We've got what's happening federally. And I was in a phone call this morning. I've been out to DC. I've sat down with Senator Sinema, Senator Kelly. Senator Kelly in particular has been an incredible supporter of this. He's been out to ASU to see our capabilities. We want to bring those federal dollars home for many, many reasons. they will again partner with the New Economy Initiative on what we're doing at ASU. Next slide, please. So again, we are in the two cogs over there, advanced manufacturing, SDC, the national initiatives happening in the federal space. ASU has recently opened a new school in the Fulton Schools of Engineering called the School of Manufacturing Systems and Networks. It sits at our Polytechnic campus. Again, another one of those cogs all fitting together. So at ASU, we're trying to really plan, use opportunity that we have, and really push forward. The New Economy Initiative is one piece, very, very important piece, because it's allowed us to speed up work that we were already doing. It's really a catalyst for us. Next slide, please. This is just some logos of the industry partners that the New Economy Initiative, many of these were partners we already had at ASU, but again, all these pieces fitting together. In healthcare, you might think, well, engineering, what's engineering got to do with healthcare? Well, it's got a lot to do with healthcare, biomanufacturing, biomedical engineering. One of the science and technology centers, the human performance one, really dovetailing with the work in healthcare. So many of these companies, you will be very familiar with them. We are starting to work with them. That partnership is really, really important. Next slide, please. So the New Economy Initiative, tremendously exciting. Again, thank you. That's the most important thing that I can say. We're moving forward with engineering, with technology. When I speak to faculty at the university about the New Economy Initiative, they say, but I'm not in engineering. How does this involve me? It involves you. I mean, the law faculty, where's the governance for artificial intelligence? Communications people, how do we communicate this? People in our education school, how do we do the best job of educating? It's all coming together, and ASU is a big place and it's got great faculty. They're all on board, even though we often speak about it connected to engineering. I think it has a very broad swath. Plus for industry, once you've got these growth in industry, they need support, they need services, all, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. So we've been entrusted with this responsibility. Okay, I've already had to speak to the Arizona Board of Regents several times about the New Economy Initiative. We promise you metrics. We promise you communication. I'm happy to come back or have a colleague come back if you want someone else to give a talk on the New Economy Initiative, where we are. There are very precise metrics. How many students are we producing? How many short courses have we done? Are we producing, and how many employees have those impacted? How many industry partnerships have we created, startups and so on? So we're really being held to task. I think about this quite a lot. I've actually brought a handout and I can circulate it to people on the Zoom as well. I think with the New Economy Initiative, we can grow the economy, we can benefit everyone, and really lead the country in terms of a resilient economy with high-paying jobs that will serve us extremely well in the future. So again, this could not have happened without your support. So thank you again. It cannot be successful without your continued support and your advice and your feedback. And I'm going to get some questions today. And ASU is really honored to have been given this assignment, and we're taking it on very seriously. So I think I'll close there. I hope I didn't go over time, and you're welcome any questions you might have. Thank you. Last slide, please. There's my contact information, and again, I have some cards here, and we can circulate this to the people on Zoom. So perhaps go back to the pictures so we can see everyone. It's always a bit disconcerting when you're you don't see them. So again,
Yes.
Welcome questions from anyone.
Yes, so
Quickly
I am going to facilitate that. Let's wait until we
get back.
get our people back up.
Okay.
Thank you, Sally, so much.
Yes, and thank you very, very well done.
I mean, a statistician looking at how this is going to shift, like you were talking about that valley of death or whatever, just to see the commitment from the educational facilities to say, hey, we're in it past the graduation to get local businesses and employees. That's great.
So ASU's charter, and we have many ASU graduates here, for me, I always think about research of public value accountable to the communities we serve. So ASU and the other two state universities really see this as our responsibility to partner with the state and produce things that are useful to the public and support our fellow citizens in the state. So we take it very seriously.
Fantastic. Absolutely a very pertinent topic to, the growth and success of our state. So this is well received. I did find it a little interesting that a statistician did come and you mentioned, but you didn't bring a lot of stats. So, I guess if you were to, reach into your bag of stat tricks, what one do you think would be sort of something that would kind of catch us? You mentioned how we provide the most engineers to Intel, but I know for me, I work in the commercial real estate advisory role to global portfolios. So stats are a big deal to them. So what would sort of be, do you think, a stat that might draw your attention?
I think perhaps people may not know how many students actually attend ASU right now. We're at about 77,000 in person and an equal number online. And to me, that's an astounding statistic. You're right, I don't leave with stats because they're not always well received. Someone tells me a story, I took statistics in college and it always upsets me because I actually think every person is a statistician. You just need to bring it out. So I guess that is quite astounding. I think ASU's growth, and again, I'm a new person on the block, we want to combine that growth at scale with excellence. So we are what is called an R1 research university, which means we have the highest ranking of universities in the United States because of our research focus. And to combine that with such a large student body and bringing every student that excellence in their education, their access to research or other types of on-the-job training is what ASU does so well. And despite Fulton being at 26,000 students right now, we have student workers in my office, and several of them are engineers. And they tell me they don't feel lost. They feel they get the individual attention through advising and through, so even though it's huge, it doesn't feel huge to them, which is quite surprising to me and wonderful.
Excellent.
So,
Well, and I'll be leading this portion of the question and answer. So if you do have some questions, those of you, you can put those in the chat box and then we'll be able to ask those questions of Dr. Morton. And I did want to, since I am running the show, I've got another one for you.
okay.
So can you speak to what were the assignments for U of A and NAU to kind of complete the package of
Sure.
what we're focusing on as
I
a
hope-
state?
Let me try to find them quickly because I want to make sure I get them right. I think I can speak from kind of memory. So, yeah, I'll just speak from, oh no, here it is. So for Northern Arizona University, their focus is on healthcare workforce development. So they're looking at expanding, for example, their nursing program, PA program, and so on. So it's very much about healthcare workforce, which we've seen particularly in the pandemic more need for. University of Arizona, again, health sciences, they do have a medical school, which ASU and NAU do not have. So there's a focus on their health sciences, space and defense, and they are also doing work in mining. So they've actually started a new school of mining. So that's as much as I know, and we were asked to really focus on engineering. So I think the state, via the governor and really the Arizona Board of Regents, did a very good job of kind of parceling out the specific assignments so that we don't duplicate, but we're kind of more than the sum of the parts when we're working together.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I think it gives you a lot of confidence that we've got a good strategy to help grow our future.
Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? Was it difficult to get the state to be engaged in this?
Well, I'm new again and a little bit older than you. I heard this was a decades-long conversation with the state to make this happen. I got lucky because I just kind of arrived and good news, here it was, and you're going to coordinate it. But I think it was a long conversation. And in fact, President Crow, Michael Crow, often says this is the first significant investment in ASU in a long time. But I think it was smart. And actually, in the end, I think people came together and said, this needs to happen. Now, whether what was happening with the pandemic and the impact on the economy or the downturn in the late 2000s, I don't know what motivated it. Yeah, but it's a good question.
Very exciting. Do we have any questions from our online? And feel free to unmute yourself if you don't want to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I have a potpourri of questions that I'm going to be asking, so I don't want to dominate the conversation. All right, well, we're going to ask.
I'll throw one open, but I'm a ASU team member. Hi, Dr. Morton, Kristen Slice. I'm with the J. Orrin Edson Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, so part of your team. I would love if you could speak a little bit to, we talk a lot about industry partners. We've got some great industry partners in the room. What would be next steps that you would recommend for them as far as how would they, they've heard this information, what does it look like for them to really engage moving forward? And we know we got a lot of things still building.
Wonderful, Kristen. And I think there's a very real way to engage. As I mentioned, we had in February a Science and Technology Center Proposers Day, where we brought together industry partners, both those that we'd worked with previously or others that had heard about the New Economy Initiative. And we spent a day with them, went into breakout groups, again, your type of industry, what are the problems that you're facing? So I would encourage anybody involved in industry who wants to be in the New Economy Initiative, they can get in touch directly with me. There will be another Science and Technology Center Proposers Day in the fall, probably August, September. That's one concrete event that you can be involved in. But again, if you say, I'd like to get started quicker than that, I can connect you to either the Science and Technology Center that connects to you, or, for example, with colleagues that are working on short courses for industry, if that's the direction you want to go in. So we're definitely looking for people to be involved. And again, we'll send out my contact information and I'll get you to the right colleague, and we would love to have you involved. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, and if I could dovetail off of that too, I actually got to participate in Proposers Day as an entrepreneur myself. It was really enlightening because it sounds sometimes really like, what would this research look like? And so for me, as an entrepreneur, I sat in the room, and what the Proposers Day is really looking at is, as you are looking at your venture, at your business, at your industry, what's coming next? What's the next product? What's the next research question that you need to stay innovative in your field and industry? And the Proposers Day is really, industry partners can come in and say, you know what, we're great at manufacturing this. We think that the next level might be Y, but we're not sure how to research that or what that looks like. And it really is a collaborative moment of finding the right researchers and investment in developing out, and your company, and there's IP structure that allows you to work with industry in a really innovative way. So for me, that's what I would encourage people to think about is, what is the next innovation for your industry, your field? Bring that to Proposers Day and have an interactive conversation with ASU, because together we can really move those things forward. So it continues to move both your venture and the economy together.
Thank you so much, Kristen. What a great description, and wonderful that you were part of that. And I was able to stay for part of it, but that's exactly right. The other piece I would emphasize again is we are developing short courses and partner with industry. So one example is in quantum computing, which is a new thing, right? And that may be germane to your industry, or blockchain, supply chain logistics, these types of issues. So if you're thinking, my employees, my colleagues really need to know about this new thing, is that something that ASU can help with? That's another piece that you might be interested in.
And so I wanted, as we use the word dovetail, I think Kristen set that up well. Some of what I think she's talking about, and that you did mention, if those of you that were listening out there, she jumped us over the valley of death. And so as we talk about the Founders Day and these things, understanding that we're trying to bridge that gap, but you'll appreciate this, Dr. Morton, being a statistician, but what does that really mean? What does that mean in terms of number? I mean, I hear a lot of, we want to be this, but what does that mean for us as a goal from a number standpoint? Where do we want to be growth-wise? Where do we want to be, as a state, as you look forward? And if these things start to happen, where does that move the needle for Arizona in terms of quantifiable stats?
Yeah, so I'll sort of answer that question in two parts. One is with the Valley of Death. I'm sorry,
I just love saying the
I know,
Valley
I
of
know,
Death.
the Valley of
It's
Death.
ominous.
So often part of the problem is we produce something in an academic lab, we produce a very small prototype. It's getting it to that next level and sort of prototyping, having the facilities to do that. A piece that I didn't speak about, and I should have, is part of what the science and technology centers are doing is they're also producing facilities that industry can come in and work in, particularly startup industries who may not, for example, have access to a clean room to develop a new microchip, to get it from that idea, that kind of almost theoretical idea
Mhm.
in the academic lab into a prototyping to then where it can be used in production. That's where things tend to get a little bit lost, I think, and that's why they die in the Valley of Death. Okay, so there's that. Now with statistics, as you saw early in the talk, there's sort of this return on investment idea. I think it's about new high-paying jobs in these spaces. It's about startups coming, and we have specific goals actually from the Arizona Board of Regents that we have to show in terms of growth of students, growth of new jobs, industry partners that we've done projects with, as well as startups produced via the New Economy Initiative. So very precise statistics on that.
Well, and I really appreciate that. I mean, in my world, I just came back from Richmond being a national site selector presenter. And so what I talk about is how the stats are really what matters. It's what, as you talk to companies, they want to know, what are you doing as a state to attract businesses and to ensure our growth and success? And the things you're talking about, a lot of these new, as we call them, wet labs, or the ability to come in and rent space so that you can be able to bring people in. We haven't done that well as a state, but now we're starting to look at that. And these are exciting conversations. And I think for a lot of us, it's sort of, Arizona's always been that we're lagging behind and we've always been a best kept secret. But I think these are the things that are going to make us leap forward across the Valley of Death and be on the other side of saying, hey, we really are a region that you want to look at first, not last. And a lot of what's happened even in the industrial market is that's what's happened as we've come to really we're being looked at first. And so these are exciting things that you're talking about. And I just want to be sure people understand that this stuff matters to companies. It's a true conversation. When they're looking at our state, they're asking these questions.
Exactly. Yeah, they ask exactly as you said, what are the amenities for me as an industry? Are there going to be access to the facility, to the equipment? Are there employees there for me? And that's why the partnership with the university like ASU or the other state universities really provides that high level of quality. And then they want to know I think the industry ecosystem amenable to new companies, and that's where you come in so importantly with the chambers of commerce and so on. So I think it's all of us working together. Yeah, I'm constantly buying stuff. I signed a check for, multi-million-dollar. It costs, the microscope costs what? But even, this stuff is really, really expensive. And we're fortunate that these fabs are also coming in because they sort of have the industrial strength productivity. We've just got to get from the smaller labs across, and that's what the science and technology centers are doing. So the Macro Technology Works, which is the old Motorola company site, kind of one of the ASU's 7 innovation zones. That's where a lot of this is being developed for the first 2 STCs because we have clean rooms there and we can expand them. And I can't say the names of the companies, but I have these conversations all the time, and they're often saying, well, what if we could put some money in to help expand the space and so on. So it's starting. People want to get out of Silicon Valley. Another conversation with a very large company. They would like to come and put their headquarters close to ASU and in this locale. So it's starting to happen, but we're still a little bit of best kept secret. And that's why we need all of you to know about this capability, because you are our ambassadors, right, of the New Economy Initiative. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why we're having this today. I mean, this stuff is amazing. Is there anyone else that has something before I go down to my potpourri of other questions?
Oh, 2 questions.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Shelley was first.
Shelley, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And especially to the Buckeye Chamber for joining us today. I'm really proud of that partnership with Southwest Valley and Buckeye Chambers. So nice to see you here, Deanna and Teddy and Chris. Thank you so much. Dr. Morton, I have to admit, I didn't exactly know what we would be discussing this afternoon. So I really appreciate learning more so that I can help champion your good work. At Litchfield Elementary School District here in the Southwest Valley, we've got 17 schools, and of course we're growing, so more to come. We're a K-8 program. We'd like to be a good partner. So I'll follow up with you about what we can do to support you, but I want to let everyone on the line know that we're having a STEAM fair for our district on April 28th. We'd like to invite ASU to come participate with us, or anyone else who's on the line who might like to judge or have a table or do anything to help inspire younger students to love learning and get excited about what's ahead for them. We've heard that that's the best way that we can support your initiative at this point. If you've got other ideas for us, we want to hear them, but we'd love for anyone on the line to be able to help get kids in the Southwest Valley excited about these engineering roles, these medical fields, all kinds of opportunities that aren't even defined yet for them.
Right, no, that's wonderful. I spoke a little bit about sort of the college and beyond education, but the early education is so important, particularly as we want to diversify. And I'm a woman statistician and I'm old enough where I've been one of the only in many roles. So we need to encourage young people of all types to get excited about these types of jobs. And so anything we can do to partner, I know ASU does a lot of partnering with K through 12, but the work that you're doing, that lays the groundwork for these students to be successful when they go into college. So thank you for all you're doing. Ken Chapa? Question?
Good afternoon. Well, I apologize, my camera's broken, so I got to get that fixed. Just want to say, well done. I'm excited to hear ASU's doing this and that you're commenting on this. Tech transfer has been a ongoing obstacle for I don't know how long. So I'm eager. I'm happy to see that that you all are taking this really novel approach. And also it produces some other options as well. Let's be honest, not every community can support a TSMC. Not every community's got the infrastructure to do that. But what you guys are doing and this pipeline that you're establishing allows communities to participate, even though they may not have the home base, they could still participate as far as R&D, workforce development, and so on and so forth. So it's very exciting, and I just want to comment, well done.
Thank you very much. And yes, absolutely. Another piece that I didn't speak to in the educational stream is community colleges, of course, and the ASU partners with community colleges for jobs as technicians and so on, and also for students perhaps that begin their career in community college, but then are going to segue into a four-year. So that's another important pipeline in education and supporting folks at all different levels to move themselves and their families to more high-paying, stable jobs. And that's really our goal.
Well, and I think Ken hit on, promoting ourselves as a region. And I think part of what I want to give credit to the regions is that they actually made sure that all three universities had a goal or had a specific task in this so that it was really inclusive for the region. Because that's the other thing we have to look at, back to what Ken said, is maybe they don't wind up in one city, but if they wind up in our state, our region, that's a win for us, and we have to think that way. And that's really what the Southwest Valley Chamber is. We're a region. We're not, we may represent some cities, but at the end of the day, we're representing these regions. And I think that's going to be the winning formula for us going forward. And this is exciting. And I also wanted to say to what Shelley talked about, you had a slide of a child, right?
Yes.
And I think that sometimes we have to understand it starts early, and we have to make sure that the new, as we look at this new economic initiative is, who are these new children going to be and where are they going to go? And we have to plan that out. And so I think that's all a big coherent strategy, but it's exciting to hear all the pieces are in place, it sounds like.
Right. And ASU, as you know, education, that's our primary mission. And we do incredibly exciting ways. There's something called Dreamscape. I don't know. So it's basically virtual reality. So a lot of kids drop out, like in basic biology or basic chemistry. How can we motivate them, help them learn better? And so we've sort of virtual reality classes for biology 101, and of course do a lot online, and math. I was a math major. It's about math too. If kids fall with respect to math, then often doors are closed to them. How do we make sure that kids who are all capable of doing this receive the education that they need to be to do what they want in their career? So of course, ASU does a tremendous amount of work on that. It's all tied together. That's an interesting thing for me at ASU. It's very, very collaborative. So even though I'm the research house, I'm working very much with the educational side of the house as well. So another question.
I tend to.
Tendra.
My name is not as easy to pronounce as yours, Sally, so I try my last name. So no, thank you, Jeff. And the dovetail is a word, so I'm just going to add a few things. TSMC or Intel is large companies. Where I come from, I'm an engineer and I teach supply chain management at WP Carey. So thank you, Jeff. And there are many people in this room and on the call who have partnered with us. Sally, you should be aware that we have partnered with the Chamber to create sort of a problem-solving body for the supply chain of the larger companies, the small and medium business. So what we have done is we have partnered, and this is a pilot, this is in beta mode. What we did was we brought in small companies and said, what's your problem? Let us assign a faculty, let's assign some students, some industry experts. Let's help solve your problem, real problem. Because they came to us and said, we don't know who to go to at ASU. You're always targeting larger companies, but what about us? We generate 60% of their revenue or employment. So we partnered with community college, we partnered, and what an amazing feedback. So the person sitting on your right, Jenny, she's one of the troublemakers there. Kristen Slice, who happens to be part of your team, is part of the core group. Jeff was very, very supportive. And what we are saying is, we are not going to lecture you. We will hold your hand and we will solve your problem with you. And so whether it's a supply chain financing issue, whether it's sustainability challenges, and we are also working very closely towards the continuing education of the supply chain of small and medium businesses, professional certifications leading up to a MicroMasters, all the way up to a DBA. So that's how we would love to provide a platforms, and just adding on to all the things that you're doing, and to say that we have started to put meat around the bones. And the results are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that students, kind of a capstone experience for them with a real world problem, because often in the classroom, no matter how much we as faculty try to make it real, it's never the same as working with a real client, a real customer, hearing what their issues are, and then trying to implement a solution. So thank you for that.
That's excellent. Well, and it's exciting as we talk about, at the table, I know it's a little overwhelming maybe for those of you who aren't Sun Devils, but for those of you that are, I will tell you, as I travel around, just coming from Sacramento, education was a big piece to it. That education has to be involved, because these companies, whether they need a degree program, a certificate, whatever they need, there has to be a solution. And education has to be at the table for us to win these companies.
Yeah.
And it truly is a team effort. And I just absolutely am not only proud to be a Sun Devil, and all my children are Sun Devils, but I'm proud that Dr. Crow has absolutely changed the face of Arizona in his time at the university. And for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to hear him speak and to see what he's done, has been nothing short of amazing for our state and for our education, and the partnership in which it's developed these opportunities that we're talking about today to truly take Arizona from, when we crashed being a hospitality, construction, residential based economy, to which you talked about, we have to diversify and be a science and be a technology and have the things that are going to allow us to, when we get these bumps in the road, continue to grow. So as we're coming up on time, because this has been a great topic, we're running out of time. I want to leave you with kind of your closing thoughts on what can we do to help to advance this, and or to become part of it, and just some closing thoughts on how you see this new economic initiative playing out.
Sure. Well, I see it as an incredible opportunity for the state. State has really come together in a surprising way, I think. You often don't see that partnership. So if you feel that excitement and opportunity, I hope you take that away from this presentation. do become involved. And we talked, Kristen was very kind to really put that point center in our conversation. Do become involved, keep us on task. We should be accountable to you. These are your dollars, right, that we've been entrusted with, and your future in many ways. But we are all going to have to work together to make this a success. So I'm very, very excited about it. It does get a little nerve wracking when I have to go up in front of, you're a nice audience, but the Arizona Board of Regents and fortunately, I have wonderful colleagues like Kristen, Jenny, and others that help me get prepared for those conversations. But I think that's exactly right. I mean, we work for the state. So I'm just very excited to see, one of the reasons I came to ASU was because of initiatives like this. And it's exciting to be part of it with your partnership. So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so to close us out, I'm going to turn this over to my co-chair, Itendra. Give us some closing remarks and thoughts as we get ready to wrap this thing up.
Oh, fantastic. No, thank you, Jeff. I agreed to be a co-chair with you just a few months ago because of your initiative, your involvement, your energy, and our desire to connect. And that's the only way, whatever we are doing, whether New Economy Initiative or as part of the business school or ASU as a whole. You told us that you need to connect. We wanted to connect, and the results are astounding. So the New Economy Initiative for us will be more like the catalyst that will make these connections even stronger. And this energy and this passion, we hope to continue going forward. And that's all I have. And Dr. Sally Morton, thank you very much for coming. And I think you gave a huge boost to all the efforts that we are making at this moment. So thank you again.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Well, just so you know, we are going to be planning these type of ongoing forums, and we will send that out. So if you're interested, please make sure to drop us your email, and we will make sure to get you on our subscriber list. But I wanted to thank Jeff Campos. He's been our CEO and our new leader for the past just not even barely a year. And he's made an amazing impact in bringing these type of things forward for us. So truly, we're honored to have you today. And we look forward to doing more of these types of events in the future. So thank you for attending, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. And then, like I said, I've got lots of
Handout we have
lots of clients that are looking. So definitely, that was good to have your connection. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I
It all
can give
fits
it
into
to
what
you.
we're talking
It
about.
sure does, right? It's all coming together.
Yeah, we can, in the website, I just brought, there's 2 cards
Perfect.
there. I apologize. I'll give one to him. Yeah, great.
And we can upload
Yes,
this and we'll
exactly.
email
And
it
also,
out.